So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session of Sahaja Yoga meditation. And what we'll do is, as usual, when I'm taking these sessions, I'll give a talk on a subject that I hope people will find interesting. And then we'll have, as ever, an extract from a talk of Sri Mataji's, and then the meditation. So, tonight's talk begins like this. There's a common motif in fairy tales. It's found, for example, in Aladdin and also in that marvelous Indian tale, not very well known, but it's a wonderful story, The Grass Cutter's Son. It goes like this. The hero wants to marry a princess. The king, her father, demands that first he performs various tasks. One of them is to build a palace. In The Grasscutter's Son, the king wants a palace of crystal with ceilings of silver and gold for his daughter. With the help of his talisman, in Aladdin's case, of course, his magical lamp, and in the case of The Grasscutter's Son, a piece of broken pottery, which, however, has been blessed by the hero's mysterious guru. The hero is able to do this overnight. In the morning when the king awoke, he heard the sound of shouting. He inquired the reason. The attendants answered and said, "Oh, your majesty, in the night a wonderful thing has occurred. A palace of crystal has been built on the bank of the river, and the people are coming together to behold and are shouting with wonder." When the king came forth to hold audience, lo, there was the lad, the hero, in the fakir's dress, standing in front of the throne as before. As the king lifted his eyes, Gisa, that's the hero, advanced and bowed himself and said, "My lord, the palace of crystal is ready. Give permission now that I marry the princess." But the king answered, "First, the princess must have a bridge of marble that she may pass over the river and enter her palace." So with his guru's help, the hero achieves this as well. But we might think that somehow the tasks are back to front, and that the building of the bridge, which is obviously a smaller, simpler matter, should come first, and only at the end should there come the great task of building an entire palace. Yet it's not like that. So symbolically, this bridge building must be very significant. Now, in a way, excuse me, we're in the position of the hero who, through no real work of his own, but entirely through his possession of a talisman, in our case, the Kundalini, has been able to build a palace of meditative living, meditative attention. It signifies the foundation of a new world, but it has to be linked to this present world around us. People have to be given the chance to enter the palace, or if you like, the hero and the princess have to meet and to marry. Besides, our own new world may fail to take root and may fizzle away if we can't plant it properly in the soil of the world as it is. So we have to build a bridge between the two worlds, the new and the old. That's not so easy, but again, we have our talisman to show us how to do it. The reason I mention this is because recently a group of yogis came to my city as part of a tour around the UK and put on a program for new people. It was impressive. When I first turned up at the venue in one of the city's universities, I felt a trifle uncertain about how it was going to turn out. But as I took my seat, I felt powerful vibrations, good ones. And why not? The visiting yogis were putting so much effort into this. They were so nice. The dancers so good, the musicians so competent. And afterwards, many of the people in our local collective were saying, "How wonderful, what vibrations, how joyful." and so on. Yet I felt a little like the sage in the Tao Te Ching who says, "The multitude all have a purpose. I alone am foolish and uncouth. I alone am different from others." Because as the evening wore on, I felt fewer and fewer vibrations, while at the same time feeling more and more uncomfortable. I asked myself if I would have come back to another meeting if this had been my first introduction to Sahaja Yoga. And the answer is almost certainly not. Of course, it's hard to know in practice how I would have reacted, but I might have felt from the extract from one of her talks that Sri Mataji had the answer, and I would have certainly wanted to know more about that. But even then, the extract that was used was just a very basic description of the 3 channels. Anyway, more to the point, if I asked myself, would I have wanted to bring anyone I knew to be a serious seeker of truth, or say a member of my own family to that program? The answer is no, definitely not. But why? Obviously, I don't want to be disparaging about the people who put so much work and money into that tour. They did a really admirable and professional job. The problem, as I see it, is me. Maybe I'm just too critical, too curmudgeonly, too set in my ways. Still, I have a right to my opinion, and one can think of what I'm doing here as giving feedback. I hope it will be understood that this is a sincere investigation into the question of how we present Sahaja Yoga, and at a deeper level into the question of what we ourselves think this yoga is. There's a great deal I could say about that program, but I want to get at the principles underlying it rather than its surface features. And so there are just 2 main things I want to talk about here. The first has to do with the fact that what I saw was all so Indian. The songs were Indian, the first dance was Indian, the second dance was Indian, the sitar playing was Indian, many of the costumes were Indian, the dancing at the end was Indian, maybe more Islamic than Hindu Indian, but anyway Indian. The whole effect was Indian through and through. Why? When I was seeking something human, something universal. That was one of the things which attracted me to Sahaja Yoga. It didn't have any particular ethnic identity. It wasn't limited in that way. Yet here, Sahaja Yoga was being portrayed as if it was only and definitely Indian. An Indian almost in a Westerner's idea of what Indian looks like, rather than perhaps in a more contemporary view of what's going on over there. Obviously, I'm not anti-Indian. My father lived in India for a time. My grandson lives there now. I'm very happy about that. For decades, I listened to some Indian music every day. I appreciate the way that India is a land of yoga. But why not mix this Indian music with Western music or poetry? We are in the West, after all, and we have our own great poets and great music. Why not do that? Or something like the setting, Ian Bascom's setting of Blake's To Morning, which I heard sung so transcendentally at our centre at Bloxham Farm. Why not do that or something like it? Why not introduce some variety? Sri Mataji stressed the importance of variety in cultural matters. Or at the very least, there could have been an announcement at the program to the effect that this yoga is not Indian per se, but is common to all humanity. Had this program taken place in India, its Indianness would have been perfectly sensible. But this is England. It's almost as if we have been infected by this nonsensical, guilt-ridden idea of denigrating our own culture, which is so pervasive nowadays. It's as if we felt we had to decolonize the curriculum, excluding anything English or Western, as if such things are too contaminated with materialism, colonialism, imperialism, patriotism, and all the rest of it. Back in the 1980s, Sri Mataji became critical of the way that so many yoginis here were starting to wear a kind of uniform of Laura Ashley dresses. And is it really any better if we all start looking like the Hare Krishna mob? This is a serious issue because it has to do with identity. It's understandable that people should want a ready-made collective identity. It makes us feel secure. I belong to this group. I belong to this community, and so on. But in order to be able to say we are Sahaja Yogis, one of the minimum requirements is that we should be free personalities, not people wearing the uniform of one or other kind of conditioning. If we are wearing a uniform for the purposes of a job or a role in a play or for a special occasion, yes, all right, no problem. But if we are presenting ourselves to the world, it ought to be in a form that is dignified but free, or at least that's not too obviously aligned with any particular manifestation of conditioning. Anyway, personally, I don't want it to be felt that I belong to some obscure Eastern cult. That would be embarrassing. And not only would it be embarrassing, it wouldn't be true. Now we come to the second principle here. What I felt very strongly at that program at the university was that there was nothing there for my intelligence. Nothing, even though it was at a university. When I first met Sri Mataji, the fact that this yoga made such logical sense was really important to me. And at the very first meeting, there must have been enough of an intelligent explication of this yoga for me to connect up the dots and see that this was the answer we were seeking. But there had to be some dots, at least, for that connection to be made and for me to get the bigger picture, not no dots at all. Actually, the problem goes deeper than this. I doubt if I'm the only person to have noted a strong streak of anti-intellectualism among many yogis, certainly in England. Forget all that thinking, it just gets in the way. It reminds me of once when I was in a greengrocer's shop here in Bristol, a long time ago, overhearing the assistant there, who it transpired had a horrible false guru, encouraging one of the customers to come along to his local group's awful meetings. Don't try to think about it, just feel the love, he was saying. But what we are doing, should make sense to the intelligence, to the heart, to the feelings, and to the intelligence. We should be able to articulate it intelligently. We should be able to think about what we are doing and about the world in which we are doing it. Of course, by thinking, I mean benevolent, analytical, investigative thinking, clear thinking, not woolly-minded mental ramblings, or the kind of complicated, over-intellectual games that go round and round in circles without leading anywhere. But it can be the case that in our attitude, all these kinds of thinking get conflated together. It's very easy to say, don't think, you have to be thoughtless. But for one thing, it's in this state of thoughtless meditation that pure inspiration comes. It's here that we get the detachment also to focus our attention on problems and see them with a penetrating and discriminating clarity. When I wrote a book called Sophia about Jesus, Sri Mataji told me I should say that I got it through my meditation. But the book wasn't filled with blank pages, as you might expect if you use a very narrow definition of meditation. There were plenty of scrupulously articulated thoughts in it. Anyway, it's easy to say, don't think, just enjoy, which is what I felt was being suggested at this program here, as if there's no joy ever in thinking, which there most certainly can be if the thinking is done properly and the thoughts are illuminated and illuminating ones. Do the great books, the great poems have no value? Does science have no value? Does the ability to think logically, coherently and lovingly have no value? This is, after all, one of the things that Socrates taught us. In any case, we are living in this world, and the idea that there's something bad about thinking per se only turns us into split personalities who, when we're at work, have to do plenty of thinking whether we like it or not. In other words, there's personality A who concentrates on not thinking, and then there's personality B who does the opposite at work and in everyday life. It's a strange state of affairs. There's another aspect to this denigration of thinking. If there was nothing for the intellect at this program, there was plenty for the emotions. If there's an anti-intellectualism in the minds of many Sahaja yogis in England, I didn't feel that so much when I moved to Italy, actually. They were very respectful of teachers and thinkers and writers there. But here, it's not so good. So if there is this anti-intellectual feeling in the minds of many yogis, I don't see much evidence of a corresponding anti-emotionalism. It's as if the fact that the spirit is beyond feeling as well as beyond thought has been conveniently forgotten. The spirit may express itself, and does express itself, through thought and feeling, but the spirit is not grounded in them, as we know. Yet at that program, it seemed to me spirituality was being presented as if it was essentially an emotional thing, a matter of feeling. Yet, as we know, feelings go up and down. They change into their opposites and then change back again, and so on. What's more, by presenting this yoga as something mainly emotional that makes you feel good, we are presenting it as a kind of self-help therapy, along with all the other self-help therapies on the market. Do this and you'll be happy. This is typical of the self-help approach. You deserve to be happy. You're worth it. Just try this. I felt it was instructive that one of the yogis posted a comment about an alcoholic who had approached them when they were singing bhajans in the street in Bath the day after our program here. And he said how he wished he had what they had. All right, why not? But we don't just want alcoholics. We don't want patients. We need doctors too, actual doctors, teachers, philosophers, artists, scientists, even politicians, people of influence. Surely some of them must be seekers. But how do we reach them? That's the question. To do it, we have to build that bridge. It's not enough just to say, look, here's the palace of Sahaja Yoga, and we're all having a good time feeling vibrations inside it. Actually, the fact that we're not very good at building that bridge may be one of the reasons why so many of our children drift away from Sahaja Yoga when they reach puberty or when they leave home. I've seen this in my own collective. Children who seem so promising when they're very young suddenly lose interest and wander away. Maybe it's because for them, the worlds of Sahaja Yoga and the ordinary world of everyday life seem insufficiently joined up, so that when they are thrown completely into the latter world, the ordinary one, the world of Sahaja Yoga, by contrast, can suddenly seem very small. A small place whose rather nervous inhabitants don't even like to step outside their own front door without putting themselves in bandan first. A small place whose activities revolve around pujas and meditation and the occasional qawwali, its only cultural form being that of bhajans and Indian dancing. They can hardly relate to it. It's not consonant with the everyday life they are now living. There's almost no point at which the two worlds touch. What's even more difficult for them, I'm sure, is to imagine their friends relating to this small world of Sahaja Yoga as it's so often presented. How then do we build that bridge? Actually, And one of the probable origins of the name Bristol, where I live, is the place of the bridge. And it's also the Vishuddhi, the place of communication of this heart chakra, according to Sri Mataji. And the attempt to create a bridge of compassion and understanding and encouragement between ourselves and the contemporary world has always been really important to me, as I'm sure it is to most of us. But how do we do it? I'm certainly not claiming to have a definitive answer, but I feel that in the first place, we should know about things. We should be interested in things. Sri Mataji was interested in everything. We should know about our country. We should know about our history and have some grasp of current affairs. We should know something about nature, flowers, constellations, astrology, art, buildings, science, literature, the interesting and beautiful places around us, and so on. All this helps connect us to the world out there, and especially it helps us connect our children to it, and for them to feel that they belong in that world out there. It's not a sort of alien place. And to understand also that this yoga isn't something cut off, because in fact it has to do with everything. It permeates everything. The spiritual intelligence permeates everything in an enjoying and discriminating way. In the second place, when we're trying to communicate the knowledge of Sahaja Yoga to others, I feel we must try to understand those other people, to understand their concerns, problems, worries, ideologies, what makes them tick. We have to converse with them, to let them play upon ourselves a little, to reveal themselves, to engage with them. Not just to say, look, here's the answer, take it or leave it. But to try to understand what their questions are, and then to show how this yoga answers those questions. To understand the situation in which we are living and in which seekers are living, although they may not know to what extent they are seeking, to try to understand all this in a very subtle, penetrating, compassionate way. Finally, and this is something Mother goes on to say after the extract we're going to listen to in this talk, which is from Varata Puja in 1989 in America. So this final thing, and the most important, is that we have, she says, we have to make something of ourselves, to expand our personalities, to become impressive people. She says, quote, Sahaja Yoga is not going to work by advertisement, nor by my photographs. It's going to work by your work, that is our work, by our responsibility, by our shouldering Sahaja Yoga. It's our responsibility to spread Sahaja Yoga and to establish it. But first of all, she says, our shoulders should be strong. And again, she says, it's not going to work out if you wear some saffron clothes and go on singing Hari Rama, Hari Krishna on the street. No, it's not going to work out. Nor is it going to work out if you say, we are Sahaja Yogis, we are such people and this and that. Nothing. You have to be something. So we have to make something of ourselves. So that's the talk. And I know it sounds rather critical, but it's really deeply felt. I felt very disturbed, I would say, after that program, that I couldn't feel as much a part of it as others obviously did. I went for a walk quite late in the evening. This was the following day. And I went to the local park. There was hardly anybody around. And as I started to come back, there were these three kids there, teenagers. A strange little thing, this, I'll just add it at the end. And so they were about 17 maybe, and two boys and a girl. And they were just standing there looking sort of a little bit moody. And as I sort of passed them, one of them suddenly came over and stuck his hand out to shake my hand. And I looked at him, and I looked at his hand, and I thought, what's all this about? And the other boy said, it's all right, you know. So we shook hands, and I felt he didn't know why he was doing it. He had been moved to do it for a reason he wasn't understanding. But I felt that it was like saying, we, the young seekers, respect your point of view, unusual though it may be, and we need your help. So that was tonight's tour, which I hope you enjoyed. And now we're going to listen to an extract from this wonderful, much deeper talk of Sri Mataji's, as I say, from Connecticut, I think it was, in 1989. So it's about 7 minutes, and then we'll have meditation.
Have possessed them. And now today, America is on the left-hand side. The right-hand side of Americans is finished now. They are on the left-hand side, guilty, feeling guilty, they are taking indulgences. Once you go to the right side, see, you are very disciplined and you become very ascetic by temperament, I should say, and you want to dominate others and you want to capture. But today the situation of England and America is just the same. In England, the same thing I find with Sajogis. They are just lovey-dovey types, you see, and all they love me and love me and love me. And I just don't understand. What's this going on? They all love me and they'll bring flowers for me. Finished. Is this the way we are going to work out Sahaja Yoga in that England and in this America? Mother, I love you very much, so what? So to become one part and parcel of the whole, a drop has to become the ocean. You have to become great people. You have to be responsible. And this lovey-dovey business that you have has to go out of your mind completely, otherwise Sahaja Yoga cannot work out in these two countries and you'll be cursed one after another. There are shocks after shocks that are coming to this country as well as to England. But people are not learning any lessons from them. Still, it is all right, we get this disease, all right, then we glorify it. If we are suffering from ecological difference, still we are glorified. If we are using too much of machinery out of balance, still we are glorified. Because they just want self-indulgence. Just for self-indulgence, they don't want to see the point that what is going wrong with this country is that they do not see anything that is reality. And the reality, though it is in the heart, though it works in the heart, it has to act. This has to act. And if it does not act, this kind of a passive behavior is not going to help. Now, at this old age of mine, I'm traveling from places to places. And I'm doing so much. Now, let us think about it. What have we done for Sahaja Yoga? Those who see you as sometimes as just some APs with disheveled hairs and something, that kind of a thing. This is the report I have from people who came to your centers and things like that. They're a set of CPs, you see, just like that. So the first thing a Sahaja Yogi has to do, has to make up something of his personality. In America is very important. They are studying, they are out of job, they are doing this, that. That sort of people are not going to help Sahaja Yoga at all. There will be liabilities on Sahaja Yoga. If you really want to do something, you have to become something. You have to study, you have to become something, you have to have some sort of a degree, diploma, something, attached to you have to mean something. Hippies cannot run Sahaja Yoga in America. They may run better in India, but not here. So one has to realize that what has gone wrong with us is that we are now following a very subtle way of the same trends that we have taken. After realization, open the door. After realization, we think that we are realized souls, that we have become yogis now, that we are realized souls. But one should see that we have become realized souls, no doubt. But whatever bindings we had before coming to Sahaja Yoga have become subtler. They have not expressed themselves as lights. Just we believe that we are Sahaja Yogis. We believe that we have vibrations. And also we can feel the vibrations. But still, we have not reached that state where we have become the totality. We have to still grow. And if you are settled down with your vibrations and thinking that you are all right, you are sadly mistaken. Whatever were our conditionings before coming to Sahaja Yoga, say you were a hippie. So the enlightenment has come, but then the idea of this love business is there. Supposing you were a businessman. So the enlightenment has come to you and you think that mother should help you in your business. That's what it is. Supposing now, if you were unmarried and you are married in Sahaja Yoga, then you want that your marriage should be successful in Sahaja Yoga. If there has been a problem in your health or something like that, then you have become a subtler person that you think, I ask help from mother for that. But we do not think that what have we contributed to Sahaja Yoga. We had certain things which we thought were wrong, maybe that. But in Sahaja Yoga we do not see those things are with us, still continuing with us. To become Virata, we have to really examine ourselves without any anger, malice or anything, but see for ourselves. I know people who are small-minded, who have jealousies, and their jealousies continue. Supposing there's a good musician, they'll not appreciate if the other person is a musician. He will not appreciate, he will not encourage that person that really, I am a musician, he is also a musician, let me help him. So the small-mindedness that existed before still becomes in a glorified way. The person will think that, all right, I'm a musician and I sing very well and I'm singing Mother's praise. But anybody else who is singing will not be appreciated. To that extent, as you should expect, that you are a part and parcel of the whole. This hand, if it feels hurt, the another hand immediately helps it. In the whole body, you see, the system is so totally connected. As soon as you eat food, the digestive system starts working. But we should watch ourselves. If you have to become deeper, we have to watch ourselves, where are we lacking? Now, how does a tree grow? I have told you many times the story, that there's a little cell at the end of the root, and it knows
So we'll go to meditate. And if we just put our attention on ourselves and that we want to become impressive people with very clear, definite personalities in which this great yoga radiates outwards to other people, to the world, and back to ourselves when we look in the mirror and we see a Sahaj Yogi. You have to be very confident, and not always criticize ourselves, or at least not do it in a destructive way, but only in a constructive way, which of course we should do. So in this meditation, we ask you, Mother, for insight to see what we are lacking, how we can improve, how we can manifest our personalities as something definite and impressive and large, so that others feel a magnetic attraction towards the spirit as it's reflected in us. Okay, so we'll go on with the beautiful music, and thank you. Okay, we'll finish there. If anyone is interested in the story I mentioned at the beginning and gave a few quotes from, The Grass Cutter's Son, it comes from a book called Indian Fairy Tales by Mark Thornhill. And he was an administrator in India in Victorian times. He wrote a few books, and one is this Indian Fairy Tales. And it's one of the best collections I know. There are 5 long stories in there and some shorter ones, but they're beautifully written. He had obviously heard them from indigenous Indians and written them up, and I love them. So they're available online on archive.org, the Internet Archive. Mark Thornhill, Indian Fairy Tales. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining, and hopefully see you next month. Jai Shri Ram.